Thank you for tuning into the Natty News Daily podcast. This episode is brought to you in part by our sponsor, Core Nutritionals. You can check out corenutritionals.com for all your supplement needs and use code Natty News Daily at checkout to save 20%. Enjoy the episode.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Natty News Daily podcast. We got a little special conversation to touch on tonight. Unfortunately, James could not make it on duty calls, being a father and such. So Dan and I are leading the charge tonight, and we're going to touch on Mr. America this weekend and our role in the show. Dan's appropriately wearing the shirt. I unfortunately am not blessed with such attire.
What are you doing? Came
I know.
unprepared.
I'm slacking. But yeah, so for those that don't know, if you've been sleeping under a rock, we are on commentary this weekend for the Mr. America. We did it last year, and thankfully it was pretty positively reviewed from everybody involved, from people tuning in, people that were there live. Obviously, Mark and people involved with running the show had a lot of good things to say about it. So thankfully we were invited back. And yeah, stoked. How you feel?
I'm excited, man. I know last year was a blast, so
Yeah,
I'm excited to get back and see the spectacle.
yeah. If anybody's not been or even like overly familiar with the Mr. America, check it out. Obviously, Instagram is probably the best place to look. Their website obviously is going to have a ton of information too, but it's not just a bodybuilding show. Obviously, that's the realm we're mostly involved in, but it's a full-on spectacle. This year, last year obviously was that as well, but this year even bigger with strongman and powerlifting and CrossFit. They have like the full-on expo that you
Big
can walk
expo
through.
down the street at the convention center. Yeah.
It's a whole thing. And unfortunately last year we didn't get a whole lot of time to check it all out, but hopefully this time around we can poke our heads away through there and see a little bit more of what was involved with it. But from what we saw, just passing through, it looked pretty impressive. And, I could just imagine actually having time to go through it. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I got a chance to walk through the expo last year. And I know they outgrew the space last year. So upgrading to the convention center. So yeah, looking forward to spending some time out there. I'm headed out Thursday and then gonna probably take some time on Sunday to check things out. That's the plan.
Looks like we might have a special guest here.
Special guest.
Hey,
look who it is.
Are you there?
There we go.
Let's see.
The
I
man,
have
the
no
myth, the
volume here.
legend.
Bear with me.
Oh,
We can hear you, so
I should have volume. Can you hear me?
Yep.
loud and clear.
You can. I can't hear you guys
Damn it.
at all. Let's see. Volume's up.
Technology. Gotta love it. But yeah, Dan, like you said, got a chance to walk through it and see what was up. But touching on the bodybuilding show, accepting natural competitors from any and all organization, which is obviously super cool. There's no limitations as far as like what federation you're affiliated with or who you're pro with, from my understanding. So it's kind of
Jenna, I have no volume on this. I can't hear them.
just mute Mark really quick there. but yeah, it's cool to see like those opportunities get presented within our sport, because it's super infrequent, if like ever, honestly. Speaking for us last year, especially the bodybuilding division, seeing like Bada and Mishak and Levi and a ton of other top competitors within the sport.
Okay, so you could hear me, right?
Sharing the stage. Yeah.
Nod?
Gotcha.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. So we could do it this way where I don't hear anything you're saying and I just run my mouth.
We could do that.
My volume is up.
This is the best podcast ever. Yeah. Anyways, it's cool to see top names from a multitude of organizations share the stage, and let's see who's the best of the best is, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you just see, the best of the best. And that pose down with Bada and Mishak, just seeing
Yeah.
it stage side was was something else, man.
Yeah, I still have that on my phone.
It was such a great time.
Yeah, yeah. And even like outside of bodybuilding, like within every division, figure, bikini, classic physique, like just the quality is something else that I think was definitely like at the top of the level last year from what we saw. So again, sitting there live, you kind of get a different perspective of it, which is just to speak to like, we see all the stuff online where competitors will be like, oh, so and so doesn't look good or blah 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 blah. And when you're judging from photos or video that's shared online versus sitting there live, you know what I mean? Like it's a totally different perspective. And like Dan said, or like it's insane seeing it in person.
It really is. It really is. So I think it's a special event, and the camaraderie backstage and all that stuff. I competed in it 2 years ago, and then I got to sneak backstage, and people really supportive backstage, and pros intermingling with amateurs. I think that's probably pretty special for them. And I mean, it's just a high quality event, professional event, top to bottom. So
okay, here we go. We got something going now, I think.
We got some inception going on right now.
So, Leroy, you're not splicing any of this out. All the listeners are getting entertained by this.
Wait, so am I on there twice? Is that what you're telling me?
You're on there twice, yeah.
Outstanding. Let's see. The fuck.
There you go. You're good now.
You're good. I stopped the other video.
Okay, good. All right, so I guess this is fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marc Tauriello. The man that's running the whole shebang this weekend. Welcome, my friend. Glad you could pop in.
Well, glad to be here. How's it going?
Hey, buzzing for the weekend, man.
Yeah. You guys excited to come down? Of
course.
Oh, yeah.
You guys did such a kick-ass job last year. I'm excited to have you back.
We appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. And obviously for us as from two perspectives, obviously from a business perspective, amazing opportunity, but just as fans of the sport, man, can't thank you enough, because it's truly an honor to be involved in such an event.
I appreciate that. But my main thing is I'm trying to give opportunities to everybody. So if this does something good for you guys, then great. That's my goal. I'm trying to create opportunities here for people.
Dan, do you have any recollection of where the page was at following wise this time last year? Like it was less than 10,000 probably.
I think we'd hit 10,000.
Did we hit 10 by this time? So we've almost doubled in. I
think we're probably 11 or 11 or 12. Yeah. So we're at 18 now. So
nice. So I mean, anything
you guys are doing it.
Yeah, and anything we can do on our end to help out not only you but the sport in general. I mean, that's kind of the mission of what we're on. So whether that's commentary or promotion through video content, interviews like Dan did last time around, like that stuff, that banged. Those interviews Dan did with all the winners when he ran backstage, like those were getting thousands and thousands of views within like an hour.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Especially with everything I'm doing with Mr. America, is we're trying to get as much exposure for the athletes as possible. Things aren't the same as they used to be years ago. A lot of times years ago, you would compete, you get a supplement contract, you ended up in a magazine, but supplement contracts are few and far between. Magazines don't exist, and athletes are promoting themselves best that they could, on social media. So times have definitely changed, and I think we need to try to stay ahead of the curve with that. And we keep doing what we're doing, but we're coming up with some new ideas that are really going to go far.
What maybe give us some insight as to what's different in comparison to last year, where things have improved, where you think that people will maybe notice some next level stuff this time around?
Yeah, I have so many different things in place. The first thing that comes to mind is we changed up some of the class medals for the classes that are going to be switched. So we have some different customized medals for that.
Cool.
The way the medals are being awarded are a little different. We got rid of like the solid gold medals for the pros, and they're all silver. with, gold, silver, and bronze for first, second, and third. Our backdrop is definitely going to be different this year. I didn't realize the color of it last year, so we straightened that out.
Yeah.
There was just, there was a lot of things that I noticed that a lot of people may not have noticed that I personally needed to improve on for the event. The way we did awards, like I was saying last year, we mixed in amateurs and pros, and everybody loved it because the amateurs got to mingle with the pros backstage, which I think was fabulous because they don't get that opportunity a lot. So we're running the show a little bit differently this year. So I'm hoping for the best. I'm expecting the best.
For sure.
But we do change things year to year slightly, whether it's for timing of the event, for, entertaining the audience. That's one thing that I'm real big on. If I'm going to run a show, right, I'm promoting a show, I need to put on a show, right? And I think that's missed in a lot of places. Most promoters run a bodybuilding competition and, people are there competing, they get their awards, they go home, they call it a day. But you have people in the audience, you have people buying tickets to see the show. So let's make it showy. So that's one of the things that I try to really focus on is, bring that entertainment value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, speaks to the spectacle of the event. You know what I mean? Like with the expo and that kind of stuff, like that all goes to like etching that in people's minds. They're like, whoa, like that was a blast. Obviously I got to see the show and that was amazing, but my experience there was fun, right? Like a lot of times we've all been to shows where maybe fun isn't the word to use to describe your experience there as a spectator, right? Like you saw good bodybuilders and you can admire that, but my parents might not leave the show and be like, wow, that was a lot of fun. Right. And that fun aspect could be what really draws, outside viewers in, which is something that this sport probably really lacks, is like just the external population that maybe doesn't know the deep weeds of bodybuilding, but maybe if they know it's going to be a really good experience, they'll go check it out, right? Like going to a fair.
Yeah, I mean that's the idea, and especially with the expo and sports festival. I don't know if many people realize I did this for bodybuilding. What I'm putting together and building and growing on every year is for bodybuilding. So I want to make sure everybody who's competing in bodybuilding, go to the expo. It's there for you. That's why it's there. Go see the other sports. I know a lot of the other athletes from the other sports are coming to the bodybuilding Saturday night to root them on. So I want to see a lot of the bodybuilders, doing the same for them. The community around the Mr. America, and I'm sure a lot of people see it, on social media. We have people coming from around the world, but not just for bodybuilding, for all the sports. And it's the same sentiment, from everybody. They want to compete in Mr. America. They want that title. So yeah, get to the expo, go check out some of those athletes. I have a guy, he just had to back out of, I want to say it was strict curl. He had a problem with his visa. So we really have people coming from all around the world for this event. And, I'm going to keep pushing and keep making it grow. Bodybuilding being the focal point, of course, and never losing sight of that. But everything I do around it, as far as the expo and the vendors and the other sports and the sponsors and the vendors, that all gets kicked back to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel that's the way we need to grow natural bodybuilding, but we need all the athletes' support to do it. Right. If we have, 200 athletes competing on stage, but only 30 of them show up at the expo, it's not good. Right. So we really want to push everybody to go over there. Every single athlete in bodybuilding and powerlifting and kettlebell sport, CrossFit, everybody, they all have free tickets and passes to go wherever they want all weekend long.
Wow.
So we're really, building out a like-minded community amongst all of these sports, which is really something different, and it's pretty special.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, just, always speaks to your desire for the athletes to get the most out of it, right? You're not just running the show for the sake of running the show or, making money off it or whatever it may be, right? Like for anybody listening or watching that questions Marc's passion for this, like it's clear the man is here for the athlete, and that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. one of the things I wanted to do, well, one of many things I wanted to do was I wanted to come on, whether it was on my platform through Jimmy Repeat or a platform like yours, and go over what an event like this costs and put the breakdown out there and show people. I have
Yeah.
nothing to hide. You know, a lot of athletes, you always hear, oh, you know, the promoters are making so much money. Why don't they do, you know, X, Y, and Z? That's definitely not the case.
We've been on the
You know,
promoter side, so we know how that
well,
goes.
well, right. So you get
Yeah.
it. You get it.
Yeah.
You know, but like I want people to know what I'm putting into this, not for any other reason, but so people understand what I'm trying to do for the sport, right? Because I still think a lot of people don't recognize that. You know, we have what eight or nine organizations all honoring pro status for the amateurs.
Yep.
Like that's unheard of. You know, you don't get 9 organizations that all say, "Yeah, we'll honor your pros." You know, if they get it, you know, they win their first place on your stage, they can come right to us and we'll give them a pro card. Who does that? You know, we have 8 or 9 organizations that are all willing to do that this year. We have, you know, you can qualify for IPE Worlds. You can qualify for DFAP Worlds. You know, like you could go on to other things through the Mr. America. You know, and these are all things that I work on, not 365 days, but probably at least 360 days of the year that I'm working to find ways to improve the sport.
Yep. Yep. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, that's something that, you know, for those that maybe aren't recalling what you're talking about. So any amateur winner, now remind me if I'm wrong, but they could choose which pro status they wanted, right? It wasn't they didn't get 9 pro cards. They could choose which one.
They could choose whatever one they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is epic, right? Because obviously logistically, maybe there's certain organizations that line up with where you live, or maybe certain organizations that mean a bit more to you or you deem a little bit more, you know, valuable or whatever. So to be able to choose that, I think is super cool and speaks to the caliber of athletes on the stage that, like you said, organizations are being like, hey, this is obviously a legit competition. You know what? We're willing to throw ours in, and then if someone takes it, they're likely a viable competitor on our level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we're just trying to really step up everything that we do. I don't know if you saw, we signed a contract with Drug Free Sport International for this year. So we are now only I'm not an organization, but the second group of people in bodybuilding to go truly third party drug testing.
Wow.
I think that's a huge, huge expense, but it's a huge move for the sport. You know, I want pro athletes in natural bodybuilding to be treated like a professional athlete, right? So if this is the group that the NFL uses and the NHL uses and NASCAR uses, why aren't we doing that for our professional athletes? Why aren't we treating them and giving them the best service that we could? So, you know, I went ahead and signed that contract with them this year. You know, it's still all urinalysis. It goes to either UCLA or SMRTL in Salt Lake City, both, you know, the only 2 WADA approved labs in the country. You know, it's all full panel testing, you know, but like that's a big move for our sport. You know, nobody else seems to want to do that. You know, we see drug tests that get put out that are, you know, not 3 panel, but people get their results and they look at it and like, oh wow, this is great. Look, I got my drug test results. But if you know what you're looking at, you can clearly tell that it's not those 3 panel tests. You know, and you know, we have athletes in natural bodybuilding, like in politics, you have the far right, the far left, and you know, some people in the middle. You have the far right people or left, whatever side, that when they say natural bodybuilding, they're like, I don't even take creatine because it's I don't know why they don't take it. It's not natural. But you have that train of thought, right? And then you have the people that are like, well, we allow TRT, you know, because if your body needs it, you know, you should be able to take it. Well, and all of those schools of thought are fine, and there's nothing wrong with any of them, right? But just realize the level of drug testing that we're doing far surpasses, you know, any other bodybuilding organization out there right now. You know, believe it or not, you know, so some of the history of the Mr. America, the AAU was the first one to sanction the Mr. America in 1939. They still run bodybuilding shows. They run good shows. They do third-party testing, but forever and ever, AAU was the way to the Olympics, right? So you had to have that level of testing, and they carry that right through every single sport that they do. So the people that want, that comprehensive drug test and that fairness, maybe you should go check out the AAU to compete.
Damn. And that's huge, obviously, within our sport, the natural side of it, and what's natural and what's not, and natural by when and natural till when, and all this kind of stuff. Like, it is such a muddied water that we try to navigate through, and whatever the solution may be in the future, it sounds like you're on the right path in solving it, at least.
Well, I don't know if I'll ever solve anything, right? Because I think it takes a lot of education to get people to understand what drug testing is and isn't. Everything has limitations to it, whether it's urine or a polygraph, but everything has limitations to it, right? So, for example, I'm not going to put the product out there or anything like that. There's a compound that was in supplements years ago when you had a lot of companies, spiking their supplements, that it's a long-term metabolite that sometimes it appears in your urine and sometimes it doesn't. And it lasts for years, absolutely years. You could pass 20 drug tests, all of a sudden you pop dirty and you're like, what the hell is this? Well, it was in a bunch of supplements, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or whatever it was. And you can't get away from it. So that's a problem, right? So I think managing drug test results is also important. It's not about just, hey, you failed. Like, we do tons and tons of research. We have doctors and the labs and attorneys that deal with all this type of stuff all the time, that educate us on exactly what we're dealing with, right? We don't want anybody to get a bum deal over, something from 10 years ago that, even scientists don't really know why it reactivates.
Yeah.
So, we want to be fair with everybody on every level, judging, testing, showing up late to athlete check-in. We give leniency for a lot of things because this is for the athlete.
Yep. Yeah. And it's what we're all about, right? Is just you make the sport better by making the athletes' experience better, and then making them want to get involved more into larger capacities, and inviting their friends and family and being like, yo, this event is legit. It's legit from the backdrop right to the drug testing.
Right. And everything in between. But if there was, I don't think we left any stone really unturned this year to improve. We've had a few meltdowns here at the office. But
I remember you called me a couple of times. Yeah.
But that's what it takes, and we're willing to go through those tough times to come up with solutions and better ways to do things. We're not just rinse and repeat here every year. I know this year, we have tons of returning winners. From last year, the year before, 2020, like, you have people coming back that have changed classes. You have, winners defending titles. You have winners coming to reclaim a title that they may have lost, or that they didn't come and compete. So I know the competition this year is going to be, it's ridiculous. The line, you guys have the lineups, I believe.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous what we're going to see on stage this year.
Do you have much international presence within bodybuilding?
Yes, we do.
Sweet.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you how many. There's definitely 3, 4. Australia, Canada, Italy, Mexico.
Let's go. Canada's coming for it.
We'll see if we let your athletes over the border or not.
Yeah. I'll sneak them through in my truck on my way down.
But yeah, I mean, there's international presence, in bodybuilding for sure. We're super excited for this year.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Well, I'm glad
we're doing the live stream here, and then you've got some upgrades with that. You want to talk about some of that? What you're doing?
The upgrade. What upgrades do we have with that? Oh, yes. There's so many things. So this year we are doing, I don't want to, I guess, live voting, where the audience in the theater And on the live stream, we'll have the capability of scoring the show. The criteria is on the app that they're going to use for each class. And, feel free to jump in, score the show. And at the end of the show, there's going to be 2 winners. People's Choice Awards for best male and best female, or, whoever got the most votes, essentially.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And it's, you can kind of go back and test yourself too. Did you have it the way the judges had it?
Yeah.
You'll understand what the judges are going through and how they're applying the criteria to each and every athlete.
And that kind of comes along with what we're doing through the live stream, right? Is that education side of the sport where,
right.
Even like if I take my parents, for example, I've been competing now since 2015, and they'll sit in an audience with me when I'm at shows coaching, or, I'll show them pictures, and they don't even fully understand like what I would see. And they've been witnesses of the sport for a long time now. So to have
right.
that opportunity to not only kind of listen to us through the live stream, while maybe you're sitting there on the app and going like, oh, like they just mentioned his legs. Okay, now I understand. Maybe that's symmetry that they're talking about. Like that I think is super
right.
valuable.
Yeah. We want balance, top to bottom, front to back, left to right, and like me personally, when I judge, I'm a stickler, for symmetry. That's what that's what it should be first. It should be symmetry. Coming in bone shredded, like that's not the only thing that wins shows, and that's not going to win at Mr. America. You need to have the muscularity, you need to have the symmetry, you need to bring the posing. Like it all needs to be there. If you're gonna walk away with the title of Mr. and Ms. America, like we want to show it off.
Yep. The complete athlete, right? That's something that I think a lot of people overlook is, people get so fixated on size or so fixated on conditioning, and step back and say like, okay, what is a complete athlete, right? What does that look like front to like you said, front to back, top to bottom, left to right? Like what, no weak links, no missing pieces. And maybe it's not the biggest guy, maybe it's not the most shredded guy, but maybe it's that perfect happy medium where everything, you just step back and look at it and you're like, that's it. That's peak.
I just had an athlete that's going to be competing, I guess, November, I guess sometime at the end of November, come in so I can take a look at him. And from the front and the side, this guy's lights out. Turns around, he's got no depth to his back at all. It's like just flat, like you never did a row.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, right? That doesn't lend to good symmetry front to back. So hopefully, the biggest worry I always have is the judging. I have the most experienced judges that you could possibly get. They all understand the criteria. It doesn't always go the way I want, right? Like in my mind, I'm picking people too. But I always have to, leave it up to them to make those hard choices, and they're hard. And looking at the lineups this year, it's like, holy shit! Like everybody should win. The classes are deep.
Yeah,
I can't say stacked anymore. By the way, I'm not allowed. I've been banned from saying that there was a stacked lineup.
Why?
The word's thrown around a lot in classes that weren't actually stacked.
Okay.
There may have been a bunch of competitors, but only a couple of quality competitors. So stacked is now out of my vocabulary. So we're going with a deep lineup now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
Fair enough. That's fair, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, man.
Should I say stack like 20 times during the live stream?
Yeah.
Well, and I won't even know about it until after I go back and watch it.
Yeah.
So I guess you could.
Like Dan did it intentionally now.
Well,
right.
Out of his way to say stack.
We'll get like a stacked counter.
Just whisper into the mic, stack.
We'll get like a stacked counter, chiming through the whole thing.
I wonder if we could probably set that up. We could probably set that up.
Yeah, that'd be epic. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and obviously we are beyond excited for this weekend. If people want to get information, if they want to get tickets, if they want to get the live stream, where are they going?
Everything is on MrAmerica.com. You'll find your tickets, your live stream, your live voting, you name it, it's there.
Perfect. All right, people. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you listening. We look forward to seeing you this weekend live and in person at the Mr. America. If you can't, obviously tune into the live stream. You can hear our lovely voices for hours on end. hopefully not repeating stacked time and time again for Marc's enjoyment.
Well, we should probably let everybody know there will be a break between 2:30 and 4 o'clock. So we just want to let everybody know that, you know, your live stream didn't go down. We are taking a break between 2:30 and 4.
There you go. Quick gun run and then back at it.
That's it. That's it. We got a hell of a spread for you guys too, so you can go enjoy lunch.
You have me sold at food.
All right, guys. I will see you this weekend. Have a safe trip. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, man. We'll see you soon.
All right,
Thank you, Marc.
Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.